die, you know.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
Anyway,
we kind of miss those days, right?
Right. Yeah. Anyway, they didn't. As far as the whole, you asked about how long the whole situation took. It started and lasted probably approximately 45 minutes. The whole deal when I was there for approximately 15 minutes before we were in the jail and had them all under arrest.
All 14 of them.
Yeah, probably 15 minutes after I got there. But the shooting had been going on 25 or 30 minutes before I got there.
No kidding. And about how many Rangers were on scene?
There was myself and two other Rangers. There was a brand new Ranger who had just come on named Art Rodriguez. And then Todd Dawson was stationed there in Carrizo, and he was an older Ranger, and he was one of the best Rangers I ever worked with. And he was a great man to go with. When the tougher things got, he's always kind of had a smile on his face. But when the tougher things, the bullets went to flying and things went to happening, he got a bigger grin on his face that see a lot of teeth.
Oh yeah, he probably lived for it. So 3 Rangers took back a prison break of 14 convicts.
Well, there's 4 Ranger captain and 3 Rangers, but there was 2 or 3 deputy sheriffs and 2 or 3 and a couple of state troopers, best I remember. And,
wow.
Probably all in all, there's probably 8 or 10 officers, I imagine.
I tell you, that must have been some situation, boy. I tell you, you talk about. And how long were you in the Rangers when that occurred?
When that shootout occurred, I'd been in the Rangers about 2 years, I think.
No kidding. Boy, you talk about baptism under fire.
Yeah. And
do you still keep in touch with any of the Rangers that you were involved in that episode with? Because that would make you brothers to the end.
Yeah, all the Rangers that I was involved with on that deal, they're all dead now.
No kidding, man. You're the lone survivor. Boy, I'm sorry to hear that, but good for you for sticking around, man. We'd definitely miss you if you weren't. I'd like to ask you a couple more questions, if I can, Ranger Jackson. Then it says in your bio here that I got from my producer, then you captured, quote-unquote, the Seymour Kid, who was a horse thief and burglar who, believe it or not, used to clean the dishes and sweep the floors after he robbed the houses.
Well, yeah, the way he got his name, he burglarized a cabin up in what we call the Texas Hill Country, kind of north of San Antonio, back northwest of San Antonio, up in Medina, around Bandera, Medina, and in that country. But anyway, he burglarized the house, and if there's any whiskey in there, he'd see if he could drink it all, you know. And got drunk, and he took a spray paint and wrote Seymour, SEE-MORE, Seymour Kid has been here on the wall. So that's the way he got the name Seymour. His real name was Charles Brogdon, like the movie actor Charles Brogdon. And he lives in East Texas now, but he was a young man that grew up, never knew his father, never really had a family. And he stole 2 or 3 horses off the King Ranch and ride them till he found another one. And but it's a great story. I'll give a full chapter to it in my book. And of course, he and I got to be pretty close friends because I tracked him 8, 9, 10, 11 days a night or something like that. And I was a horseback and a foot and in that hill country and living off of sea rations and then whatever else I might find, walk up to a place and get something to eat. But he knew that hill country like the back of his hand. And I didn't know the hill country. And you certainly, as a disadvantage, of course, the greatest hunt in the world is a manhunt, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. And, but anyway, he was armed back the night when I started after him. He was waiting as a habitual criminal to get sentenced to life in prison in Hondo Jail, County Jail in Hondo, Texas. And he broke jail. What he done, he was he was about 6 foot tall, real slender built. The sheriff there liked him so much. He's a very likable guy, made him a trustee. And he, one night, he took a big jar of Vaseline and greased himself down and advised the outside bars on the walk around upstairs on the second floor of the jail. Well, that's where the jail was, on the second floor. and he got through those, got his head through those bars, and he got his body through, and he tied some bed sheets or a rope to the bars to let himself down 2 stories. And about halfway down, when the sheets come loose, and he fell and he sprung his ankle. But he walked 30 miles. This all took place about 1 or 2 in the morning. By daylight, he was broke into this place about 30 miles north there, and 20 miles north, 15 or 20 miles. I don't remember exact distance now. It was a good ways. But anyway, that's where he got an M1 carbine and 300 rounds of ammunition. And they got him some groceries and a bottle of whiskey, and he headed out. And he drank a bottle of whiskey while he was there. And then that's when I got after him. And like I say, trailed him 11 days and nights and caught him on the 11th night in a cabin kind of northwest of Bandera or north of Medina, little town of Medina, there in the hill country. And it was a doctor's cabin. And I had 2 deputies with me, a chief deputy, Hondo, and one of the deputies from Bandera, and the sheriff. The sheriff stayed down in the car, and we went down up to the house. And the sheriff would give me a basic how the house was laid out, which direction it faced and everything. And I'd never been there before. And so we walked up there, and I sent one deputy to the right side, and I sent the other to the left side to cover the back. And I walked up the front, and as I walked up, something didn't look right. And so with a flashlight, I had one of those buttons on it. I just hit that button, kind of done a little flash, and it was they put a brand new screen wire porch, front porch on that house, and that brand new screen wire just come right back, just reflected right back in my face. And about that, when that deputy had went around to the east side of the house, and he was at a window, and when that light come on, well, he seen Seymour standing there with that M1 carbine, and said, "Look out, Ranger, he's got that gun on you." And I stepped behind an oak tree. And I told him, I said, "Put the gun down, Seymour." And he said, "No, I'm not going to do it. You're going to kill me." Where he got that was about 3 or 4 days, about 3 days before that, we'd ran on another cabin. I had a Ranger Kerrville with me, and a couple of deputies. We hit this cabin about daylight, right, starting to break day. And he wasn't in it, but he was sitting up on the side of the hill watching us. And it was real early in the morning, real quiet, and sound carries real good. And I'd been tracking him, I guess, 7 or 8 days up to that time. Pretty well wore out, and I said something to that Ranger about if I catch him, I'm going to kill him, which I didn't really mean it, but anyway, he heard me. Well, not unless I had to kill him, you know. He heard me say that. And so anyway, I'd like to cost me, but then I told him, I said, "I'll give you my words, the Ranger. You put your gun down, put your hand behind your head. The deputy over there has got you covered the window." And that deputy was over there with the window with what I call a 2-row shotgun, a side-by-side 12 gauge.
Yep.
And the deputy had him covered. And a lot of officers would have shot him when they seen him throw that gun up on me, you know. And he was lucky that deputy didn't shoot him, and I'm glad he didn't shoot him. So I told him, "Put your gun down, and put your hand behind your head." And the deputy hollered a little bit. And I said, turn around and walk over to the window where the deputy is. And the deputy called. He said, "He's here." He got his hand behind his head. So I went in and handcuffed him and got all his stuff, took him over to Medina County Jail. And but that story is in my book, and there's a lot more to it than I'm telling, you know, about him especially. It's like he broke jail. Another Ranger trailed him one time across that hill country about 2 or 3 years, or a couple of years before I come into that country. And this Ranger had some dogs, bloodhound. Not bloodhounds, they were hound dogs, but they would trail you. They'd trail a man.
No kidding.
He was a harsh with those dogs, this Ranger was, trailing Seymour, and Seymour had broken jail, again, at one of the local jails, and it's trailing through that hill country, and Seymour had burglarized the house and got one of these 22 automatic pistols,